This is Omar for BoxNation in association with Global Next Trade. Well, Frank, the big news is out. Tyson has announced himself that he will be coming back. We've been asking you to death. We've been speculating since he retired, but he's made it clear, excuse me, that he does want to come back next year, Frank. So just get your immediate reaction to that.
Yeah, that's what he said, and let's see what happens now. There's the big fight on the 19th, and I think that's going to be just to determine how it all goes from there. But yeah, he says he wants to come back, and providing he's 100% about that, I'd back him all the way.
Well, look, you're going to have a lot of big named heavyweight fighters with their eyes focused on Wembley at July 19th. Your likes of Joseph Parker, Ajit Caballero, of course, Lawrence Okoli, who's fighting that night as well. Fabio Wardley, look, there's a ton of them. But Tyson's made it clear that he's going to have his eyes on that as well, because actually the name he wants, Frank, is Usyk. He wants that trilogy.
Well, he does, and he's made that very clear. And I know why he wants that fight. Um, but we'll see what happens on the 19th. I think Daniel's going to come through, so we'll see. So
Do you
it's
think?
really interesting. It's interesting times, and also it depends how the fight pans out. How each of there'll be a loser. How he loses. What type of fight it is. So as I keep on banging on about this, heavyweight division's on fire. It's some great fights there to be made, and Tyson coming back is a massive, massive addition to the scene.
Did you expect him to return, Frank?
I thought it's always something, he has to make up his mind himself, not and didn't need to be coerced or pushed into it by anybody, and that's what he's done.
Mm. So for those who are saying they don't want to see an Usyk trilogy because we've seen it twice and we've seen Usyk win twice, what would you say to that?
I don't agree with that. They were both very, very good fights to watch. So why wouldn't you want to see it again? And they were close fights. People have got a lot of people got their views on it, who won and who lost. But the fact of the matter is that they were close fights. They were close fights. And Usyk gets beat, it's still a good fight.
And he's very insistent that he wants that trilogy in England.
Yeah, he is. He's made that very clear. And he's also made it clear, about fighting in Riyadh.
Okay. Do you think you could deliver him Old Trafford, Frank, once the season ends next year?
Look, it'd be a great place, but you go where the money is, and the big money's at Wembley. That's got the capacity. That's the 96,000 seat venue.
Okay. Aside from Usyk, the other two names mentioned, we'll start with Anthony Joshua, a pretty obvious one because the British public have been demanding it, and it's a world sort of crossover fight as well. So that was a natural name listed, I suppose, Frank.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, as you say, it's been there forever. I mean, we can go through them all and talk about them all, but at the end of the day, as I say, you've got to see what happens in the next few weeks, and it'll all pan out then to how it's going to be and who he determines that he wants to fight.
Another name that was mentioned was, of course, Daniel Dubois, and he said that he'd box the ears off him and it'd be an easy fight. Sure, that would be a bit of a horrible fight for you to watch in a weird way, Frank, if that ever happened.
But I've said that before. I mean, it's not something you really want to see, but they're professional boxers, and if it's a big money fight, which it would be a massive money fight, who knows? We'll see. We'll see. It's interesting times, very, very interesting times.
I saw that he was asked about potentially returning this year, but he said that he's so busy with his Netflix filming that he can't this year.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, I know he's got the Home of the Furies 2 going, and he's also got this documentary that they're filming. So, he's pretty much tied up at the moment.
Okay. Excited to see him back next year, though, Frank.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to see him happy. I want to see him happy doing what he feels he wants to do and be happy in doing it. And he doesn't have to do it for money, as I've said on many occasions. He's very well set up, but he's a fighting man. That's what he is. That's what he is. And I know when he's in that gym, I think when he's in the gym, that's what he's thinking about doing. He's training, he's working out, he's working hard, and he's got that mentality where he'd like to see. Although it's for his mental as well as his physical well-being. I think he's got that mindset. I'm doing all this. I'd like to fight someone. That's how I've always seen it. I may be right, I may be wrong. I don't know.
How much do you think he's got, sort of left to give to the sport at this point?
Well, he's not got a lot of miles on the clock, has he? As you say, he's had those two. They were two tough fights with Usyk, but they were tough fights for Usyk as well.
The Wilder fights were tough as well, Frank.
They were very tough fights. Well, sorry, two of them were tough fights, and the middle fight he done a job, didn't he? But
Yeah.
they were tough fights. Yes, that's absolutely right. But he's not somebody who's been fighting like 3-4 times a year. You look at his record.
Okay. Out of the three names I mentioned there, which one would you want to see the most if you had to pick one?
I'd like to see him put the record straight with Usyk, but I want Daniel Dubois to knock Usyk over. So, that's being truthful.
Well, you can still get the trilogy on if Usyk loses next Saturday.
Yeah, of course you can. They're good fights. As I say, it depends how the fight goes on the 19th, how it pans out.
And if I were to ask you about, this version of Tyson, the version that we saw of Anthony last time, how does that go in your mind, Frank?
I don't know. You got to, he's been out the ring for a while. He's had a rest, and it's next year he's talking about, which is probably at least another 6. Well, let's say he's probably 8 months away. We'll see what he's like if he comes back. When he comes back, then you'll see what the version is. Like none of these fighters, none of them are getting any younger. They're getting older, but they know the game. They know what they have to do. They're as far as Tyson's concerned, he knows his body better than anybody. He knows all what he's got to do, what he's got to go through. And he wouldn't do it if he didn't feel he could do it. Couldn't do it, I should say.
I mean, in terms of years ago when you and Matcham were trying to make that fight between Tyson and Anthony, how do you think that fight potentially, when it would have happened before, differs to those two guys now, who would admit themselves are in the last phase of their careers?
I think Tyson would be the favourite going into the fight in a big way. You look at Tyson. Tyson, as I say, very, very close fights with Usyk. The fight, AJ's last fight was pretty devastating for him.
Okay. Well, listen, all attention rolls on to July 19th in terms of the heavyweight division. All 4 belts are on the line for the first time, I'm pretty sure, in the heavyweight division at Wembley Stadium. Frank, last time I spoke to you at the lunch, we were at 83,000 tickets. What's that gone to?
I'll be honest, I've not checked up, but obviously it's going in the right direction. I think we'd be looking for applying for to increase the capacity there.
Okay, Frank, just a couple of things I want to speak to you about. The Ring magazine put out a couple of announcements in relation to some of your fighters, Frank, in a card that we're going to see in November in Riyadh. So the first one was David Benavidez v Anthony Yarde. Talk to me about that fight.
It's a good fight. And obviously an announcement will be made fairly soon. But it's a good fight, and there'll be a press conference soon, and you'll get all the details about it. But it's a bloody good fight. It's a great opportunity for Anthony.
It's a tough fight, though, Frank. Benavidez is a monster.
Well, they're all tough fights. The champions are tough champions. They're tough fighters. That's it. That's what you got to beat. You want to be the best. You got to beat the best. And it's a competitive division, like the heavyweight division. Most of these divisions are quite competitive at the moment. So you want to be the best. You got to fight the best.
To be fair, though, we've seen in Yarde's career he's gone to Russia to fight Kovalev. Obviously, fought Beterbiev. Yeah, he doesn't shy away from tough challenges.
No, he doesn't. He's stepped up the plate, and he's done it on the road as well. He's on his day, he's a very, very good fighter, and he's going to have to be a very good fighter to beat Benavidez, who's a undefeated and great champion.
Someone else is going to have to be on their A game is Sam Noakes, who's going to go in with Abdullah Mason. What an opportunity this is for Sam, who you've been with from day dot.
Like Anthony, yeah, it's a massive opportunity, and for me, I believe it's a fight he can win. I really do think he can win. It was with us yesterday, came up to see us, and it's a great opportunity for him, and it's a fabulous fight. It's a fabulous fight between the two of them. You know, it's our fighter against a top-ranked fighter, and that's just got the look of classic all over it because of the styles. You know, you don't get nothing but action with Sam, do you? Every fight he has is an exciting fight to watch, and he's got a lot of confidence, a lot of self-belief. You know, he's trained by Alan Smith, who's done a fabulous job with him, and Francis is my son manages him. You know, they're a good team, and they you know, between all of us, we've got him into that spot, and he's now, as you say, he's now fighting for that vacant title. It's a great opportunity for him.
He does strike you as a person who's got the makings of a world champion, but of course he has to go and deliver on the night, Frank.
Of course he does. I mean, as I say, and he's not in with any slouch. He's, I think, he's isn't he? He's a Riyadh season ambassador as well.
He's a ring ambassador. Yeah.
Sorry, a ring ambassador. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
It definitely will. Well, listen, Frank, that was just a quick catch up. Obviously, a big couple of weeks for Queensberry. You've got Hamza out in New York headlining, which is huge for him next Saturday.
Massive opportunity again for him to go and establish himself in the States. You know, he's not, as I've said before, he's not dipped his toe in the water. He's plunged into the deep end, gone up for weight, and gone straight in with a very, very good fighter who's very, very confident. But we've got a lot of confidence in Hamza as well, and I think Hamza has the ability to beat this guy.
Okay, we shall see. That's July 12th. And then, of course, the big one, our sort of World Cup final, if you like, Usyk-Dubois 2 for all the marbles at Wembley Stadium. Frank, thank you very much. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you out in New York.
And you, Umar. When you going out, mate?
I am flying out on Wednesday. What about yourself?
Oh, so you're probably on the same flight as me then. Lovely.
Okay, well, I'll see you there. Take care, Frank.
I'll look forward. Be good. See you.
I knew we was going to win that fight.
Anthony Joshua eviscerated him.
Seek and destroy. That's how I fight.
This is the guy ready to take the throne.
2 semi-finals. You had Usyk fighting Fury, you had Dubois fighting AJ. This is like the final.
This rematch against Usyk is completely different.
Taking place
At Wembley Stadium, 90+ thousand people.
all the belts on the line.
In front of a global audience, live on DAZN.
Now we have a chance to see who is the best.
It's going to be something special.
Do not blink.